Hey everybody, welcome to Healing from A to Z with Masterful You and KB. I'm Chris Burke, and I'm going to be walking you through this healing journey. My message to you is that you are not broken. You're just misinformed about what it is that you need to be able to create a life you love. And as you probably guessed from the title, that's healing. All of us have experienced trauma in our lives, from big shared traumas to daily things in our lives or big events that change the way we felt about ourselves. And we're starting today with abandonment because there aren't many people I know who haven't experienced abandonment and continue to suffer with its effects. So let's talk about abandonment for a moment. What it really is a great sense of loss. It's a loss of security. It's a loss of certainty. So for example, when I was 6 years old and my parents divorced, my full-time dad became my part-time dad. We left our home and the school and friends and the town and even our pets. Everything that I knew at once, because that's often what happens. And I'm certainly not alone. In my age group, I think it's something like 75% of us experience this, right? At one time or another. So abandonment creates this incredible sense of loss, and it's overwhelming, especially when you're a child and no one's taught you, how do I process this incredible grief? How do I get this grief out of my body in a way that I can keep moving forward without dragging it along behind me? Because what happens is when we get overwhelmed, when our systems, our mind and body get overwhelmed, our instincts automatically kick in. And when they do, they say, okay, can we fight this situation? Is there something we can do to fight what's happening? And in the case of loss, no, you can't fight that. You could get angry, but you can't ultimately be victorious over this sort of loss, right? The loss of that happens with abandonment. So the other option is flight. Can I escape this? And we see a lot of symptoms of people who are trying really hard to escape things, right? Either by shutting down or through addictions, which we're going to be getting to later this week, or a lot of different ways. But if it doesn't really work because the sense of loss of security is still there, it's still trapped inside of us. So what happens in our bodies when fight isn't effective and flight isn't effective is that we automatically go to number 3, which is freeze. What that basically means is that it's almost like we put like a I don't know, let's call it a velvet rope or, a cage around this emotion, this experience of loss that we can't process. We just don't know how to. It's not that we can't, and that's an important point. We can process it, we just don't know how yet, right? And that's what we're going to be doing today. So as this abandonment energy gets stuck in your body and you kind of separate yourself from it, you kind of just bring your focus over here and let it be over there. Unfortunately, this energy that's frozen in our bodies will continue to try to express itself because it needs to be processed and released. We're not meant to walk around carrying our traumas with us like old baggage. We are meant to process and learn and grow and heal. So that's what we're going to be doing today. First step, let's get into the exercise. I thought I was early enough in the morning to avoid the mosquitoes, but maybe not. So I'll be doing some mosquito healing later. I'm kidding. Okay. So I'm here actually at the Oasis. I think maybe you can see in the background the Oasis. This is where I do healing with my horses, and my horses have helped me to do a lot of healing with myself. So it seemed like an appropriate place. I'm not actually in there with them because they would probably be helping a little too much today. So let's get started on these exercises. How do we resolve our abandonment? Not how do we fix it, not how do we simply think about it differently, but how do we actually affect the core energy inside of us in a way that we can process and let it go and walk forward, naturally creating a life that feels good. Oh, and let me share one of the things that I noticed about this abandonment energy, and you might see this in your own life, is that because of that abandonment, that incredible loss that I was carrying around, I continually through my life repeated this scenario of losing everything. I mean, at one point I closed down my business in Boston's Back Bay and I moved to a different house and I had to give up my dog, and there were a whole bunch of things that happened, and I did this 3 times in my life. Why? Because there was something wrong with me? Well, that's what I thought at the time. But no, it was actually because I had this abandonment energy that hadn't been processed, that was going to keep attracting opportunities for me to see the pattern and heal it. This is why I'm so excited for you to be with me on this journey, because we can do this together. And I know, because I've experienced it myself, and I've helped many other people to go through the process as well. So let's get started with that exercise. First step, if you have a piece of paper, write down 3 times that you feel that you've been abandoned in your life. And if you're driving or doing some other active fun thing and you can't use a piece of paper, I trust that you can hold this in your mind, or you can always return later. Number 2, let's write down people or situations that maybe we feel like we abandoned. I know for me, I sold my horses when I went off to college, and that felt incredibly, I felt a lot of guilt over that because I felt that I had abandoned them. So that was actually something that I needed to heal later in life, and these girls have helped me do that. Okay, so that's your abandonment. You're looking at your 6 items. Pause the video if you need to, obviously. I want to keep things moving along. But you're looking at your 6 issues of abandonment, and kind of put a circle around that and say, okay, this is my abandonment starting place. This is what abandonment means to me right now. Okay? And if you feel things, great, let them just let them be there. No judgment. That's one of the reasons I want to go through this process with you, is to hold the space for that. Okay, so now let's get going on the exercises. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being I don't want to get out of bed in the morning, and 10 being I am blissfully joyful and going with the flow, where would you say you are when you think about your abandonment experience? When you look at these 6 situations of abandonment, where are you on that scale of 1 to 10? Just write that down. That's your starting place. This is important because if we don't know where we are and we don't know where we're going, how can we get there, or how can we even know if we're making progress? That was one of the things in self-help that always bothered me, is that I actually had no sense of like where I was in the process. So this helps a lot. The second thing we're going to do is that you're going to write down at this energy level. So when you think about being at this energy level and you feel that energy level, you're going to write down, let's say it's a 3 that you're at right now. You're going to say, at a 3, I think, and write down the thoughts that come to your mind. Then you're going to say, I feel. Do the same thing. Write down what you're feeling. Then write down what you're saying and doing. How are you reinforcing this sense of abandonment, or potentially avoiding it? Then we'll do I sense, and I sense is a body scan. I'm going to ask you to drop inside your body and just travel around. You're not going to go deep. You're just going to notice, how do I feel? Is there tightness in my stomach? Is there tightness in my chest? Does my head start to throb? What are the things that start to happen? Just write them down. Don't dig in. It's important. Okay, and the last one is, what do I know? What do I know to be true at this moment? What do I know to be true about my abandonment experience when I'm at this 3 energy level? Okay, now for the exciting thing. Now we decide where we're going. On a scale of 1 to 10, where do you want to be? Where do you choose to be in your experience? Make it believable to you. So I encourage people not to say, I'm going for a 10, because You know, frankly, the closer you get to 10, the further away you realize 10 is, right? I mean, the 10 I had a few years ago is really different from the 10 I have today. So I encourage you to pick some, a 7, an 8, something that feels really achievable, and also a big step up from where you currently are, if that's the case. When you get to that 7 or 8, you can continue with the process. In fact, I guarantee you will continue with the process because you'll be hooked. And you'll be hooked on it by then, on the healing, and you'll want to see how much further you can go. There's no limit to this. So pick that number, and then you're going to get into this place of saying, when I am at that number, I will think, write that down. I will feel, I will say and do, I will sense, and I will know, just like you did when you were talking about where you are right now. So you're just going to let yourself free flow with that idea. What's it going to be like? Capture it in your imagination. Feel it in your body. Just give yourself the opportunity to say, wow, when I process this abandonment energy, I'm going to feel like this. I'm going to think these thoughts, because it's all connected. Part of this process is about understanding you aren't your thoughts, you're not your feelings, you're not your actions, any of it. You are the awareness that knows what's happening and can actually choose to change that when you are adequately informed, hence the healing. Okay, and so when you finish that process, and that will take you some time, have some fun with it. The next thing to do is to ask. Ask yourself, ask your unconscious mind. A lot of us don't know, and this is part of that information, that your conscious mind chooses direction, it sets intention, it asks questions. Your unconscious mind brings the answers. It delivers the steps. I don't expect you, if you haven't experienced this yourself or you haven't noticed it happening, it's happening. But if you haven't noticed it happening, that's natural. Over time, as you get to see that the universe, that your life is actually talking to you, your body is talking to you, your unconscious mind is talking to you, life becomes a lot more fun and a lot more effortless, right? We can actually set goals that just light us up, and we can start traveling that direction, knowing that the path is going to appear to us as we do our healing, as we release the traumas that get in the way. Okay. So what is the next step? Yes. So now we're going to sit down with ourselves and we're going to ask the question, what do I need to do to move on this journey from a blank to a blank? Sit with that, wait for an answer. And then when nothing comes, if nothing comes, because for some people we'll get the answer right away, right? Some of us have really practiced using our intuition. We're really connected with that part of ourselves. So the answer will instantly come. For others of us, we're out of practice, or our intuition talks to us in a slightly different way. There's no right or wrong answer. I remember one woman I worked with for years who would never get anything when she was meditating, and she got so frustrated. But then she noticed that within a couple of days, the answers would start popping into her head, similar to when you've lost your keys, right? Or you can't remember somebody's name and you stop thinking about it. You're in the shower, you're doing something kind of mindless and automatic, and all of a sudden, boom, in the quiet of you doing the mindless thing, when you're not intentionally trying to think, there's space for the answer to pop in, and it will. You will develop trust in that over time. Okay, so on Friday, Judy Forder and I, my very dear friend and colleague at Masterful You, and I will be doing a Q&A. So if you have questions, if you want to talk about your experience, or, how do I get over that next step in this process? Like, I got this information, what do I do with it? Please tune in live, put your comments in the box below, and we will help to support you on this journey. This is not a one-time thing. This is a journey of healing from A to Z. And I thank you so much for being here. For more information, you can go to masterfulyou.com. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it. And don't forget to subscribe, because healing's going to be a 26-week process this year. And when we get done, we're going to be so light. We're going to feel like we're flying to create the lives we love. Thanks for being here. Have a great day.